Hey, good morning to you, friend, and welcome back to the Higher Grounds podcast. Brother Matthew and I are sitting around the table today, drinking some great coffee and reminiscing about the summertime. I know that when this podcast comes to you, it will be on into the fall, but we're on the end of our summer tour in the youth camp business, and we've just had such a great summer. And we just wanted to come to you and reflect a little bit on what God's done for us in this summertime event we call youth camp. But thanks for being with me, Brother Matt. I am grateful you come by.
I'm glad you let me come by.
Man, we have such a good time. Somebody said to me the other day in a meeting I was in, they said, I watch that podcast every week. I said, that's great. Thank you. And he said, the thing I like, he said, y'all guys are crazy. That's what he said. He said, y'all have such a good time. I said, man, we have a great time.
Yeah, this is real life. Real life.
Hey, this is real.
Real life and real time.
Real life and real time.
Real television.
On the World Wide Web.
Yes, sir.
And national television. So it doesn't get any better than our I started to say exposure, but exposure is not a good word. So not in this day and hour.
Not this day.
You know, I had there was this preacher I knew. Well, I didn't know him well. He served with me on the board of directors of some ministry I was on years ago, and so he got ousted from his church, and then the word came out he'd gotten arrested in North Carolina, and he would go out to the interstate and take all his clothes off except for his tennis shoes, and he found a road that come right up to the edge of the interstate, just kind of an abandoned road, and he'd take all his clothes off. He would jump out on the shoulder of the road and just run down the interstate and then jump back in the woods.
Did Ray Stevens see it?
I think Ray saw him.
Ray saw that?
Yeah, Ray saw him. Or at least he heard Ray's song and decided he'd try it out. But anyway, dummy.
So we got the real life streak.
Yeah, real life, yeah. Yes, sir, the Baptist streak.
You go down to the beach and see all that.
Well, not me, buddy.
Dirty Myrtle?
Huh? The Dirty Myrtle?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got that right. Yeah, I'm not much of a beach guy. My family likes the beach.
I like the mountains.
You like the beach?
I like the mountains.
Do you?
Yes,
I like going to
Pigeon Forge,
the mountains. Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's what I like.
I want to tell you, if you ever get the chance and opportunity, all of you, if you go out to Yellowstone, man, that's an unbelievable place. I mean, just beautiful. But probably the place that really took my breath in all of my travels more than anything else, and I've seen a lot of stuff nationally and internationally, but one of the things that really took my breath was Grand Canyon. If you and your wife ever get the chance to go see the Grand Canyon, it's an unbelievable sight.
That's good. We're trying to look at it.
We went through Arizona. We went up Flagstaff, Arizona, went north of Flagstaff, and watched. I looked at the canyon. It was just awesome, unbelievable. But this nation of ours has some great, great sights to see. And I mean, just as far as natural beauty is concerned, and if nature is not your thing and you still want to see some sights, we have many major metropolitan cities that you can go to and see some unbelievable sights for sure. Amen. Hey, how did youth camp go?
It went good. We're still trying to recuperate.
I'm telling you.
It's tiresome, ain't it?
I don't think folks realize. I think, well, you're just going off and playing with the kids for 4 or 5 days. I mean, how big a deal is that? You come try it for a week and see how it does you.
Heat exhaustion and Benadryl. You know, a lot of Benadryl.
Yeah, that's true.
Every night, sawdust shavings.
Yeah, you're the Lie on the Mountain Youth Camp is an outdoor arbor, and it's located up in the mountains of West Jefferson, North Carolina.
Yes, sir.
And beautiful place. A great story to that, too, as to how Brother Melton found the place. And he sat me down this year and really began to run. He'd done it before, but began to run through that story again about how he acquired that property.
Yes, sir.
And how that little Pentecostal lady sold him that piece of property, and how that God developed it into the youth camp. But it's an outdoor arbor with sawdust shavings in it, and a lot of humidity, a lot of rain, and so you've got some mold issues to deal with, those shavings, and that's why it kicked your allergies up. But,
Yes, sir.
man, you're talking about having a grand time in the Lord. The Lord just moved in a great way. Now, you did 2 weeks there this year.
Yes, sir. Just 2 weeks. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
He's probably going back to 3 weeks next year.
Has he spoken regarding that?
Yeah, they got back to Bethel Youth Camp meet this year, so that's why they only had 2 this year.
Right.
So,
Now, he's moderating.
70th year. Yes, sir.
That's hard to believe. Now, we have a camp meeting in the Piedmont area called Back to Bethel. And interesting, the property, I think, is it owned under a 501c3 ministry?
I think it is.
But there are multiple churches that support this camp meeting called Back to Bethel. And it's held right outside of China Grove.
Yes, sir.
I guess it would still be considered the China Grove community.
Yes, sir, it still would be.
And through the years, goes back how many years? 50 years or something?
70. This is the 70th year.
Okay, 70th
yeah.
year. So they've had men like, J. Harold Smith preach it, I believe, and Percy Ray preached that meeting. And there have been multiple men that have preached that meeting.
Yes,
I've preached in the meeting a few times, not a full week. My dad's preached the meeting. There have been many great preachers that have preached in that meeting. Now, you've never moderated that meeting,
No,
have
sir.
you?
No,
yeah.
sir.
But you've attended it.
I've attended it, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I've
several
had some
years.
funny things.
Have you?
Yeah.
I've not attended as much as you have, but I've attended a few years.
Have you ever? You know preacher Mike Qualls, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Mike's a good guy, precious guy, pastors down in South Georgia, and had been in evangelism for many years. And Mike was a practical joker. I mean, that's what he was, and a jokester, and he did everything for a laugh, So I had just recently moved to the area. You've heard this story.
No, sir.
So I had just recently moved to the area, and Mike was going to make a joke at Back to Bethel at my expense. So we knew one another, but we didn't know one another all that well. And so when all the how preachers stand up and introduce themselves, and I don't particularly like that personally. For myself, I'd like to know who you are, but I don't care if you know me or not.
Yeah.
So everybody's introducing themselves, and they started on the opposite side of the building than where I was. So they're walking through all of those, people, and they're walking and they're introducing, and they're walking and they're introducing, and so on the side of the building they start with is Brother Qualls, Mike Qualls. And Mike stands to his feet, and he said, my name is Pastor Andy Wells. I pastor the Galilee Baptist Church in Monroe, North Carolina. And he sat down. Everybody, he, ha, 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 So he looked over there at me, and I smiled. And you could see it in his eyes. Oh, no. Oh, no. And so they got to me, and I said, Evangelist Mike Qualls, Field Kid impersonator.
How'd that go over?
Oh, that place erupted in laughter, because he had been accused of that by a lot of people
really?
early on in his ministry, because he kind of shaped his style in that direction. And he'd have these these real flamboyant titles like the aforementioned evangelist had in his ministry. And so it always had been a running joke, but nobody had said it out publicly.
Until he...
Yeah, and I did, and everybody just died laughing.
That's funny.
But that's a meeting that's outdoor as well.
It is. It is.
You're going to go through some more allergy difficulties there.
Yes, sir. I start a week before taking allergy pills.
Do you?
Yes, sir. Every night whenever the service is over with and Brother Melton's giving his spiel, those workers can go down.
Yeah.
I take my Benadryl.
Do you?
I do. And Chris Winburn seen me last year, and he said, "What you doing?" I said, "I'm taking Benadryl for my allergies." He said, "If I don't, I won't be able to function the next day." And so he said, "Give me one." I said, "Okay." I said, "I give him." I said, "Look, do not take this until the last amen." Well, he took it at the first amen. And so during service, I look at Chris, and Chris is he's on the struggle bus.
He's struggling.
He's struggling. He can't stay awake. And so he told me, he said, I don't know what you give me. I said, Benadryl.
Benadryl.
He said, don't give me no more. So every year now, when we go to camp up on an arbor, I try to give him a Benadryl. He won't take it. He showed me a bottle of allergy pills this year. You take once a day, non-drowsy.
That's
so,
what I take.
Yeah.
Take that Zyrtec every day, you know.
Well,
or
usually,
citrazine.
Yeah, usually I just take one Benadryl. So it don't really knock me out too bad. But on of course we got there late.
Yeah.
We got there Monday.
Yeah, that's right.
And so Monday night, we've been busy and tired, and so I took it Tuesday, and so Tuesday night they had a little boy in the dorm homesick, wanting to go home. So I want to thank the Lord for Brother Matthew Cottle and Brother Carter.
Because you was out of it.
Because I was out of it. I woke up to flashlights, and so I started sending text messages. And once I know the boy was just having a panic attack, I just rolled back over and went back to sleep.
Just a panic attack.
Just a panic attack.
Just a panic attack. Just a kid with a panic attack. It's not that big a deal, really.
Not that big a deal.
Yeah. We're used to bones sticking through the skin and stuff.
On the merry-go-round.
On the merry-go-round. That's exactly right. Legs
The
broke.
war machine.
And it is too, buddy. That is a death trap, buddy. So, did I ever tell you my Benadryl story?
No, sir.
So, when I first moved here, Ronnie Simpson at Bright Light Baptist Church always had a Jubilee meeting. I think it was in the fall. And so, might have been in the spring, but anyway, he had one. And so I went one day, and it was during either the fall or spring when that allergy season deal kicks in. And I had just the post-nasal drip and the whole thing, and the nose running, and I was just sniffing and the snorting. And I couldn't catch a break. Well, after about one or two messages, and it would go from like 9 a.m. all the way to lunch or 12:30 or something. So I left during one of the early messages, ran just up the street to the CVS pharmacy, bought Benadryl, and I didn't take medicine then, very little. So I popped a pill, swallowed the Benadryl, and I went back to the church house. I said, that'll take care of it. So I sat down there, and 30 minutes later, I'm still sniffing and dripping and wetting the handkerchief with my nose. And I said, this ain't working. I'm taking another one. So I popped another Benadryl. And about 30 minutes later, it hit me and my eyes crossed. I said, oh, Lord Jesus, please help me. And it felt like I was outside my body watching myself, Yep. And so that's bad. And I'm sitting there going, Lord, this is bad, but thank you for helping me. I'm doing my best to stay awake. Lord, help. No, thank you. Well, it was the last message of the day. And I was very thankful for the last message of the day until I realized who was preaching the last message of the day. Me.
So you had to preach
Brother
sleepy.
Simpson, I have no idea what I said.
Yeah.
They said it was the greatest message I ever preached. A lot of people said you need to preach like that all the time without really realizing what you're saying.
So you take Benadryl now for every service?
Every service.
Every service.
I have no idea.
No wonder
what
every time I asked you how church goes, you said preaching was good.
That's exactly right. I have no idea what it was, but it was good, buddy.
No wonder you preach over an hour.
I don't preach over no hour.
Oh,
I'm a 30-minute, 40-minute guy.
Really? That's what I do.
I preached in a church this week, and I preached 30, 35 minutes, and the pastor got up and concluded, and he said, I'm going to tell you right now, I have told preachers if they ever preach that long again in my pulpit, I'll never have them back. He said, I'm telling you right now, if you ever preach that short again, I ain't never having you back.
Wow.
I was like, wow, I guarantee that ain't never been said.
I've always thought, you might not have the best message, but if it's the shortest message, they'd appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Brother Hire calls me sometimes and says, I want to preach 2 preachers, said, but I want you to come preach first. I need a good 20-minute preacher. So I said, hey. So preach 20 minutes.
Well, I'm going to tell you, he's getting a good preacher, whether it's 20 or 30 or 40 or 50. I mean, he's getting a good preacher. So
about all that.
So in the youth camp business, I have been this year in North Carolina, a few places in North Carolina, Georgia. Where else have I been? 2 or 3 more places. I think most of it's been North Carolina and Georgia. But we've seen some good things take place, and I remember there was one youth camp that I preached in Georgia. I mean, it's difficult. Most of the kids that we preached to were unchurched, and so you're really having to begin with the building blocks of the gospel, starting very simple and being very explanatory with the gospel. Most of them don't go to church, and they're even a lot of them are not even coming like with, they attend bus church. They don't attend at all. Their families don't attend at all. And so they're given a free youth camp, and they come, and then they get hit with the gospel,
Yes.
And so it was a grand youth camp. We had I guess in this particular youth camp, we had approximately 60 some odd, 58 to 60 some odd campers, and then a multiple of counselors and adults.
Yes, sir.
And but it was it's tough because, and Brother Stephen Aldridge preached the week before I do. They do like 7 or 8 camps a summer. Can you imagine? You do 2 and 3, and it kills you. Can you imagine doing 7 and 8 back to back? Juniors, teens. It's I don't understand how they're able to do it.
Yes,
physically and emotionally. But when I was preaching, I would preach every morning and every evening. So I know that happened with Brother Lindsay at
the first camp,
LOM this year. But I preached Monday night, Tuesday morning, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, Wednesday night, Thursday morning, Thursday night. And then I was supposed to preach on Friday morning, but we had the funeral that you and I got involved in.
Yes, sir.
That I had to come back for. And so that was a lot of preaching. And so to tie thoughts together and get them for those kids was a difficult task. But we saw God save several young people.
Amen.
And we were very, very grateful. Very, very grateful. What were some of your memories from the first camp at LOM?
Well, of course,
Light on the Mountain.
Yeah, brother Lindsay preached the first week. He preached morning and night services, and he did great. The singing was great, the preaching was great. I think a handful of folks got saved, and it's just a different atmosphere. It's a different atmosphere on the church in the arbor with all the young folks, and the first week was tremendous. The second week was even better, and it just seems like it started building from the first week of camp,
right?
And just went out the top the second week, and Brother Melton usually gets some good preachers first, second camp, and Brother Dietz preached the second, and but it's just amazing. You see things sometimes, and up under the arbor, you some things you question, but I mean, for the most part, they're having fun, they're worshiping God, and folks are getting saved, folks are getting help, and it's just if you've never been to a youth camp setting or a youth camp service, that's something I didn't want to encourage you to try to go get in on. It's some of our folks come here. We come to attend some of the night services of Galilee's camp, and we have an old elderly couple in our church, Brother Casey and Miss Donna, and they've never really got involved with youth camps, and so that was a night a few years ago. They come, service was dismissed, everybody was praying, they got up to leave, and they was coming up to me telling me how much they enjoyed the service, and they left, and then Brother Shifley got to singing on the piano, and folks got to singing for another hour or so. We just continue worshiping the Lord.
We worshiped up till about midnight.
It was awesome. And then I got back to church on Sunday, and they just tell me how much they enjoyed the service and never been in anything like that. And it's just it's amazing. And I guess that's why
missed the
last
icing
part
on the cake. Yeah.
And so it's tiresome. And when it comes down to a few weeks of getting ready for youth camp, you already say, man, we're fixing to start getting ready for youth camp, and you already know, man, it's going to be exhausting. You're going to be physically tired, but then as soon as you get the camp, folks start coming in, the services start. It's worth it. It makes it worth it.
Yeah.
So I encourage you to.
I had read some social media comments by people who were being derogatory toward youth camp.
Yes, sir.
And they were being derogatory toward the fact that, you exhaust these kids and then you make an appeal to them, an emotional appeal to them to either serve the Lord, or you make an emotional appeal to them to get saved, and then you get all these multiple professions of faith, and a bunch of them are not real, and all of that. Okay? And there's no doubt that in a lot of the youth camps there are going to be young people who, for various reasons, make false professions of faith. But it's the people that I am associated with, we're not trying to jerk professions of faith out of any young person. No, we want them to thoroughly understand the gospel and thoroughly respond to it. But one of the ironies that I found about some that were making some of the comments that were a little on the negative side or the derogatory side, some of these people were very thoroughly indoctrinated in what we would call Calvinism, or as they would call it, the doctrines of grace. So if you're fully persuaded in the doctrines of grace and the foreordination of people unto salvation, and the fact that you're either going to get saved or you aren't, but based on the sovereignty of God and His predetermining choice through predestination, then why would that upset you that was going on?
Yes, sir.
I don't understand why that would be any upsetting to you.
I don't either.
But people like to pick.
Yeah. Of course, in the youth camp, you'll go to the altar and you'll deal with young folks on the altar. And if when you deal with people on the altar, you got to know what you're doing, because you can mislead. I got misled at 12 years old.
Yeah.
I was at church. I was at a church service, and it was Church of God, and I was told, hey, if you go down to the front of the church, you get saved, you got to die and go to hell. And so,
hey, who don't want that?
Who don't want that? So I went down there, and the guy said, if you want to be saved, pray this prayer. And I prayed a prayer after this guy, and I've never been convicted. I wasn't under conviction. I just go to the altar because, hey, you want to get out of hell, go down there to the altar, and this guy's going to be down there with a prayer that you can pray, and that prayer is going to be a secret prayer that you're going to be able to unlock the door. You ain't got to go to hell.
Solve it all.
You ain't got to go to hell when you die. And so 12 years old, I go down and do that, and I was under conviction at church, going to the altar. And under conviction, thinking I'm holding on to a profession that wasn't real. And so you'll deal with folks on the altar, kids on the altar, because they're seeing older kids go to the altar,
right?
And so they're going to the altar. And so when you deal with folks on the altar, I never say, hey, you need to be saved, or you're not saved.
Right.
And so you have to have wisdom to deal with folks on the altar.
And I think the Lord is well able, in His sovereignty and in His power, to work through all of that, even if a profession of faith is made, to work through all of that and eventually open their eyes. I mean, that's what happened to me. I made a profession of faith that wasn't real for the wrong reasons, didn't understand salvation, had a well-meaning dad, but he was in his 20s, and he wanted me to be saved, more than I wanted to be saved. And I made a profession of faith, but years later, God thoroughly opened my eyes to let me see what I was. So, it's not that God can't, once you make a profession of faith and it's erroneous, you're doomed to hell. It's not that at all. God can work through all that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because when I got saved at 17, God convicted me and showed me I was a sinner and lost.
Right.
And so there was no question, am I
that was
or
my
not?
Next statement. There's no question about it.
God hit me and said, you're going to hell.
Yeah.
If you don't get saved, you're going to die lost. And I believe as soon as my will broke, God saved me, regardless of what I prayed when I got, because I don't remember what I prayed. I don't even remember what the preacher preached that night. I just remember God confronted me with the gospel, and I was going to hell.
Do you remember the exact day?
April 12th, yes, sir, 2001, Thursday night.
I can remember basically the day, but I can't remember the exact day or the exact time, but I can sure take you to the place.
Yes, sir, I can too. And then when I visit Almeda from time to time, I like to go down to pray where I got saved at.
Absolutely. Isn't that great? I got saved in Greenville, Tennessee, and I remember I was traveling through there I was going to preach a meeting. I had gone to, if I remember this accurately, no, that's inaccurate, but it did happen when Preacher Thacker passed away. I went to Preacher Thacker's funeral. Did you go?
I didn't get to go.
Okay, I went to Preacher Thacker's funeral and then was on my way on down to about 3 counties down to preach a youth camp, believe it or not. So on my way down, I went right back. I had to drive through there where I got saved, and I searched that place out, went right there. Got in that parking lot, couldn't get in the church, but had prayer, thanking God for what He did in my life. There's something special about going back to where you got in.
It is.
It is. For me, yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Saved. Nothing like it.
Right. But God saved some youngins there at Light on the Mountain.
It has.
In the second week there at LOM, we had some of our young boys that went, and they got in on praising the Lord for the first time in their life, and it was in an atmosphere that was conducive to praising the Lord. And I've said to my wife, numerous times, I'm not I'm not overly driven emotionally. There's some who are, and God makes all of us emotional.
Yes, sir.
And I think there has been an overemphasis placed on emotions without reality, and emotions becomes basically the emotional candy stick for the spiritual diabetic, to raise their spiritual blood sugar, so to speak, to make them feel better
Yes, sir.
about themselves. And I know that that's true, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with praising God and giving glory and honor to God.
Right.
And we had some young converts that had done that this time. And one of my young men, he talked to me the week after we were working the week after, and he works with me some on projects that I have. And he said, preacher, he said, God really has dealt with my heart about prayer and about the subject of prayer. And he said, God's put that in my heart. And he's developed a prayer life out of that. I mean, a genuine prayer life. And out of the genuine prayer life, he has developed a desire to see revival come.
That's great.
And this upcoming Saturday night, there will be about 6 of us, myself and a bunch of young teenagers, boys and teenagers, ages 15 or 16 down to about 12, 13. And we're gonna pray all night long. We're gonna get together, pray all night long from Saturday all the way into Sunday up to church time, and see what God will do. And I just you pray for us, but pray God ignites the fires of these young guys.
That'd be great.
Well, in our camp, we saw a guy, one of our young boys, that was really struggling. I mean, he was really struggling with a lot of different issues. And even his uncle had said to me, if God don't do something for him, eventually he's going to wind up in serious, serious trouble. And God saved him, and I believe he genuinely saved him. And boy, he's jumping up all the time. He jumped up at Light on the Mountain. He jumped up at our camp. He jumps up at the church now and testifies about what God's done in his life. And I'm telling you, he was a little wicked devil. I mean, seriously, he's a teenager, just a wicked, wicked guy. Well, God saves him. He saves him. And the first week after he got saved, this very scantily dressed young lady come to watch him, and she goes to church. She goes to a decent church, and she come to watch him play baseball, scantily dressed. He said, "I want to ask you a question." He said, "Are you saved?" She said, "Yeah, I'm saved. Yeah, I'm saved and go to church." He said, "Well, looking at you, it sure don't look like it." And that's just being saved a month,
Yeah.
And I'm just amazed at how God works, and
That's great.
I'm glad that God's worked through Galilee and Light on the Mountain and Camp Hosanna and the RBT meeting and the others that Brother Jeff Ledbetter's the camp meet, the Smoky Mountain Youth Revival. God's done such a great work at Camp Bethany. That was the last one we preached, and God saved several youngins last week. So we're very thankful. Hey, if you don't have your kids involved in youth camp, you can contact us. There are several good options, and you'll be glad that you did get them involved in a youth camp. You'll be even more glad if you went and participated with them and volunteered your time to help out at a youth camp. It is a joy, and it has been one of the mainstays of my life. It has kept me young. I'm actually 96, and look at how well I look for 96. Hey, thank you for joining us here at the Higher Grounds Podcast. And you keep pressing on that upward way, and we'll be getting back around here next week to see you. God bless, friend.